the services that are being provided, or is there some equity or quality in what's going on so that everybody's playing on the same level playing field? So let me ask you a couple follow-up questions so I understand better what you're saying. Okay. These 50, I think you said 54 incidents. How did you come into contact with those incidents? So what would have happened?
I used to work very closely with Chesapeake County Animal Shelter and one of the local rescue groups.
Okay.
Being the only veterinarian in the county. And anytime an animal would come into the shelter or would become part of the rescue group, if it was sick, those people would treat on their own.
Those people being who? At the
Lay
shelter?
people,
Folks at the shelter?
folks at the shelter,
Lay people,
rescue, the
not
volunteers, non-veterinarians.
I see.
None of those 54 cases had a veterinarian involved.
So when the lady brought you the dog that,
Puppy that died.
why did the lady have, who was she?
She
Not
was
what
a
her name.
rescue, she actually was one of the leaders of Paws and Claws.
All right, so,
Okay.
so why did she have the dog?
They got it from the shelter or somebody relinquished it to the rescue.
Right,
It
and
had
what,
a not, it did not have an owner, which was the point of the
I
investigation.
got you, all right. Now, there was one where I believe there was an owner, and you described that you gave him 4 weeks of antibiotics, is that right?
That's right.
That dog had an owner?
That dog had an owner and went to a low-cost spay-neuter clinic.
Okay, help me, tell me what happened.
Okay, she went to a low-cost spay-neuter clinic, had the dog spayed, and about a week later, the dog developed a fever and began to cough, which, without diagnostics, you can say, well, it could be an incisional infection, it could be pneumonia. I called the low-cost clinic. They said they do put a tube down their throat, which made me think, okay, probably pneumonia.
I mean, like, they had already probably put the tube down the throat?
They had already done the surgery on the
What
dog,
was the surgery?
a spay.
So in other words, they went to the low-cost clinic, got a spay that was bad. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't necessarily say that the surgery itself was bad,
Right.
but probably not disinfecting the tubes. And,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was bad. All right, so
and mistakes are gonna happen,
I understand.
but when you're not there to follow up on them,
Okay.
okay, and you don't have any record keeping,
Is that below the standard of care in veterinary practice, in your opinion?
in my opinion, yes.
All right. And then the next thing I wanted to ask you about was, now in that situation, would that have been a veterinarian that would have done that work or a non-veterinarian?
Would have done the surgery.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, LLR has standards for if you're gonna perform surgery, you have to have certain equipment available.
Okay.
Okay, you have to have oxygen available. You
Is
have
that
to
one of
have-
the 54 that you reported or not?
Yes, it is. No, actually, no, I didn't report that one because that spay neuter clinic was just over the state line.
So the 54 you reported all dealt with the animal shelter. Okay.
Animal shelter and the rescue group.
Okay.
And when both-
Let me ask you one. So let's say that we just said, I'm not saying this was gonna happen, but let's say that we said the animal shelter can't do any of this type of stuff, then what would happen? Would they all end up in your office without any payment? I'm trying to figure out how that hurts you or helps you.
I guess I'm more looking at the welfare of the animal.
Right.
You know, it's a little bit of knowledge can be very dangerous. You know, if these people had some kind of training or some kind of oversight as to what they're doing, it would certainly be helpful. You know, if she had access to testing to test if the dog had parvo or not. That's a very simple test. She didn't have access to checking for worms, and that's just the rescue group didn't have that access. Plus, she doesn't have the training to be able to discern what type of worm or what type of medicine. She just knew that the dog was dehydrated and gave it probably enough. I mean, this was a 4-pound puppy and gave it enough fluids for probably a 100-pound dog. And giving fluids was common practice, and I'm sure it still is for them. It's real simple. You can under the skin and let fluids run in. What's not simple is knowing what type of fluid and how much.
You know, what bothers me about some of the things you said was when LLR did not investigate because they said it wasn't their jurisdiction. You know, if you're practicing unlicensed veterinary medicine, somebody needs to look into that. So That bothers me a little bit, and I'm gonna address that with LLR and find out what's going on there, because
And they did investigate, which ended my relationship with both groups. But he said that they couldn't find cause because cats are personal property. And
thank you.
thank you.